Well, good afternoon, Apologia World. This is Davis Carmen coming to you live from Facebook. Today's topic on Apologia Live is C12 Group. Now, you may be wondering, what in the world is C12 Group? What does that have to do with anything? Let me tell you what C12 is. It's a Christian business owners group that I've been a member of for 4 years, and it helps good companies build for a greater purpose. And so it's been extremely instrumental in my stewardship of Apologia. So I wanted to share a little bit about what C12 is, why it's important in the growth and my personal maturing as a business owner. And then I also wanted to tell you a little bit of an experience that I had after the first year. So I've been a member since August 2012. I was looking for a group like this, looking for some accountability, some business mentoring. And when I first discovered C12, I went to a group as a visitor and said, yes, this is exactly what I want to do. However, there's a cost involved. They actually have a business model that's just like a normal business owner model. They have to make a profit, and the price tag was a little higher than I was anticipating. So I remember the first month between the monthly meetings really grappling with, okay, is this really what I want to do? Is it going to be worth the value that I'm going to have to pay for this? And I struggled with that. However, the meetings were good. I'm going to show you my notebook and tell you some more details of what we actually do in a meeting. But after the first 12 months, I was celebrating my 1-year anniversary, and I did a personal review to see, okay, has this been worth the experience, the money, the time? And the money was the main thing that was it was bugging me through that first year. And I decided, this has been well worth the time, effort, and money. I kid you not, before the 13th meeting, I had a major company emergency within Apologia. And if I had not had C12, I would have been completely lost as to how to handle it. The very first thing I did was call my C12 chair, and Tony was extremely helpful, pointing me to other C12 members in the area that were in my specific group or in other groups that I didn't meet with on a regular basis, that had the expertise to walk me through that literal business emergency that I needed to make things happen within 10 business days or so, or it could be very difficult and worse than it started. And I really didn't think it was going to be possible. I was certainly overwhelmed, but by the end of that 10 business days, all the events that I needed to take care of were able to happen. And even though there was still about a 3-month process of dealing with the fallout of this particular issue, I had the confidence and the sense of, okay, I got some support. I got people that got my back, and they were helping me tremendously going forward. And the group of guys, about 12 that I meet with on a monthly basis right now, are familiar with that event that happened 3 years ago now. And when I do my annual presentation, it often comes up, and they ask me about it and to see where things are today. And so they're just part of my history. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to turn the camera around and show you the C12 notebook that we go through, tell you a little bit about what actually happens in a meeting, and then you'll get an idea of why this is good, why I enjoy it. I will say that as I meet other homeschool business owners, and of course I love the homeschool community and the group of vendors, publishers, conference organizers, leaders, marketers, everybody that's out there, authors, and then the homeschool world itself, users of resources that are out there. So I know the people, I love them, and I'll typically say, hey, are you a member of C12? And I'm very encouraged to know that many other homeschool business owners are members of C12. And that's always encouraging to know that they see the value of it too. It just enhances the value for me. So I'm going to turn the camera around. Of my October notebook. So in October, This was our curriculum. Every meeting, let me get the glare out. Every meeting, we do three main parts in the morning. We have a devotion, we have a business lesson, and we have a ministry lesson. And you can see what we did there. Let me turn the page here. We do a balance wheel to see how we are on different categories of life. And then here's the overall agenda with some quotes. I wrote down one of my biggest takeaways, which is really interesting. What if hiring and firing and reorganizing a company was an act of worship? Well, if that were the case, and I believe it is, then I would approach it with humility, dependence on God, and a drive to be a faithful steward. So that was my biggest takeaway for last month. So in the morning, we do those three parts: the devotion, the business lesson, and the ministry lesson. In the afternoon, one of the members will give an annual report on their business, and they will receive counsel from the group on specific issues that they put on the table. And that's one of the greatest values, is the amazing advice, wisdom, and counsel we get from other Christians who understand the pressures and the difficulties of running a business, who have faced similar situations. And I always have notes that are a full page long of other takeaways that I can apply to Apologia. So let me just show you a little bit more. So like here is the page for our devotion that we went through. We were looking at Acts 13:1. In the church at Antioch, there were prophets, teachers, Barnabas, Simeon, Lucius, and they were brought up with Herod and Saul. And you can see this uncommon community of people, and we discussed that in our devotion. And then here's the first page of the business lesson, getting it right, excellence through predictive hiring. So we were looking at the hiring, firing, and reorganization process. So you can see some different things that happened in that meeting. And then I'll jump over here to our ministry page. And so we had a lesson on how to use our business as a platform for ministry. In this case, selecting a successor. And there was a case study that was shared. So we go through that, and here's a few pages. One of the other tabs that you'll see in my notebook here is the to-do list. This is a really important part of the meetings, where we will share 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 to-dos for the month, and this is an integral part of what we do. So we're expected to get these to-dos done. They're typically a personal business, maybe a spiritual to-do. But it's interesting as we go around the room and we actually share our to-dos from last week, which ones got accomplished, which ones didn't, and you pay a $10 fine for each one that didn't. We share our new to-dos, and even that allows amazing synergy and takeaways in terms of, I'll hear somebody give a to-do, for instance, one month, somebody said that they wanted to spend 2 hours with God with no agenda. I was just like, that is a great to-do. I'm going to add that to my list next month. And so there were 2 different months where instead of trying to have, more quiet time or a very specialized quiet time, or even sometimes I've had as a to-do to write a devotional or 2 or 3 devotionals during my walk with God. Instead, I took 2 months and said, I'm going to take a 2-hour block of time, spend it with God, but with no agenda. And that was just revolutionary for me. And so, for example, I'll share with you my 4 to-dos from this last month. One was to open an emergency reserve account for the company. And we did that. We opened it up, we put a good amount of money into it, and that's going to be our emergency reserve fund, our war chest for some potentially paying taxes, or for other big opportunities that we can't do when we don't have the cash. Another was to change our 401k plan to a safe harbor plan. That's been official and approved. That will be effective for our employees on January 1st. Another was to make the detailed travel and meeting agenda plans for a meeting I have with one of our customers in December. And Rachel, my wife, will be joining me, so we're going to have that meeting with the customer and then spend a couple days that first weekend in December in Boston doing some fun things and having a mini getaway. And then the 4th one was to finalize the plans for the annual Apologia Christmas party, the schedule, the entertainment, and all that. And so they're all done. I'm ready for my meeting, and I feel good because of that, because I'm constantly looking at those to-dos as I go through the month. So that's C12 in a nutshell. It has, again, been sort of my on-the-job mini MBA is one way to describe it, although I have a bachelor's in mechanical engineering, a master's in mechanical engineering. I do actually have a mini MBA. This is a regular, ongoing business curriculum and accountability group and unofficial board of advisors that I have grown to love, have gained tremendous insight from some that are retiring and selling their businesses, some that are young, with young families just starting, and in many ways I'm probably mentoring to them. But just the amazing bond that happens when Christian businessmen and women get together in a planned formal setting to talk about business, talk about how to use our business as a platform for ministry, spending a time in God's Word, hearing the specifics on a given company, and talking about real life issues to make great companies for a greater purpose. So that is C12 in a nutshell. I encourage you to go to the website. That would be c12group.com. And you can find out more, see if there's a group in your area. It's growing by leaps and bounds. It really is. And I will let you know that they just went through a succession plan themselves as a business. There's a brand new CEO that came in the spring, a young guy who's already bringing tremendous change in a positive direction for C12. So if you're a member, if you're not a member, feel free to ask a question. Tell me what state you're a member in, if you are, in the comments to this Facebook Live posting. If you want more questions, feel free to type those in and I'll chat with you for a little bit. But C12 has been very instrumental. I highly recommend it to any of you that are business owners in any kind of business. It doesn't have to be a homeschool business. I'm the only homeschool business in my group. We got a plumber, a contractor, an electrician, a guy that owns an electrical company, a finance, wealth management company, a shipping company, a computer company. So quite a few different businesses are represented in my particular group of 11, 12, or 13. We just added a couple guys, and one guy moved away, so I can't remember exactly how many. But great being with you. Always enjoy sharing some of what's going on in my life as president of Apologia and in my life as homeschooling. Next week, I got a really neat Facebook Live subject that I'll share with you, very specific to homeschooling. And so I look forward to sharing that with you again, typically Tuesday at 2 o'clock. So that's when we'll aim for next week. God bless you all. Davis Carmen signing off, walking by faith and living the homeschool adventure of a lifetime.